Zimbabwe suffered the pandemic of the Mugabes from time immemorial, Since 1980, we had Robert Mugabe until 2017, and now we have Tinashe Mugabe, but at least arikugadzirisa nyika. Welcome to my channel, and here's an in-depth interview between Kudo and Tinashe Mugabe from Global DNA on Twitter Spaces. Please subscribe and like and leave a comment. And make sure you follow Uncle Kudo on Twitter too, because yes, these interesting spaces here and time. Thank you very much.
Who is Tinashe Mugabe, and can you give us a brief history on who you are and how you got started in your field?
All right, thank you, George. Tinashe Mugabe is my name, and I am the principal consultant at Global DNA Zimbabwe. We started this as a team of about 4 directors. I don't think it's necessary that I should mention the directors for now, but basically we are in this business together. And we started Global DNA Zimbabwe, because we realized that there was a great need for people to actually solve their disputes amicably, in a way that's resolute, and that is DNA testing. So basically, that was the drive behind us starting the idea. More to it is that we realized that it was difficult to penetrate because we had so many challenges in terms of people accepting DNA testing in solving their issues. So we tried putting everything on the internet, putting everything on social media, but still you could hardly get a client, you could hardly get inquiries until a time that we decided to go on radio. That is when we started to give information to educate people about the relevance of DNA testing. That's when we started to realize that a lot of people began to accept or began to understand the relevance of DNA testing in problem solving. So that's how we started the idea. But now moving on, we also realized that there was need for us to even reach out to the people in the rurals. And how then do we do it? That's when we came up with an idea of starting the Closure DNA show. I think in a nutshell, that's what I can say about myself and about Global DNA. Moving on to the Closure DNA show.
Okay, so now you're on the Closure DNA show. Now when we're focusing on that, the show is a hit in Zim, right? We don't dispute that, but a lot of people think you're out to break homes. What's your response to that?
All right. Yeah, as people we think differently, and we give conclusions to our different perceptions, in different ways. But if I'm to look at it from a more intrinsic perspective, that is, if I'm to allude to the DNA show itself, I see it as the platform that's helping a lot of people in giving answers to the questions that they are having. Because if we are to say we are breaking homes, how can you be breaking a home when you are giving a solution? A person that breaks is a person that is never invited. A person that breaks is a person that does not approach, the whole issue in a proper manner. That person is there to destroy. But imagine we being invited in family situations, and we being consulted, and after having been consulted, then we give an advice on how they can solve their disputes. Then they say, we are willing that you should come into our problem, and that you should also give a solution to our problems. Then we agree on the terms and conditions that are possible, at any given time that we should work on for us to help one another to solve these problems. So when we do that, and then we are invited, and the people that invited us also consent, that you guys should come in and help us. By so doing, I don't think that it's fair for us to be called as people that or to be labeled as people that are breaking homes. Why am I saying so? It's because these problems are always there in many different different setups, and they are prevalent, and these problems never had a solution. And people are always fighting. People are always quarreling. There is great suspicion in the home. Some in some marriages, many are not even talking to one another, and they don't interact. They also don't even sleep in the same room. They are separated, and yet they're just cohabitating. There is no more husband and wife relationship, and the issue only is about a child in question, and the father is doubting paternity. Now we come and we tell the family that the child is yours or the child is not yours. Is that can that be considered as breaking a home, or that's considered as actually building a home that's already broken? I don't know how you or other people can see that.
Well, in I see as if you're doing the Lord's work. That's my opinion. But for the audience, I don't know. They I think they've got mixed views, and
Okay.
yeah. So okay, there's the other question that came through through my inbox is: are the people that appear on your show coerced to appear?
All right. Okay. No, the people that appear, this is. Like I always tell many, it's not like a drama kind of an approach. This process of having to have, for example, one episode is a process. There has to be a stage of consultation first, whereby they consult us on our services. Then after consultation, then we agree on terms and everything. When they come, and before a DNA sample is collected, a consent form is also signed to allow us to collect a DNA sample for a DNA test to be done. When the result is out, then we tell them they also consent for them to be on camera. Not all parties that appear should consent to be on camera. And when they do that, it simply means that we have been given the go ahead. If at all they do not consent, that we should record those shows, then definitely there won't be a show appearing. We would rather advise them that they should take the private route of doing of ending their case privately and having to obtain the DNA result privately. But this platform is also there, number one, to help. We have many people that are paying for the DNA service, and they are volunteering to say we still want to be on the show because of the nature of our issue. Other people, they don't have money to pay. We offer them completely free tests for them to also appear. Others, they have got a part payment, but because we realize that they do not have enough funds even to pay more, we just compromise and say, well, whatever you have, is part of administration. Then we can consider them, to be part of the show. So there is always a choice in whatever decision that is being made in the process of helping them resolve their family disputes. We do not coerce them. We do not force anybody. They volunteer, and the others are also enthusiastic because they just want to appear on television. That belief that did you see me on television? Even on radio, when we're doing it on radio, a lot of people they say, please, I want to be on radio. Please, how can I appear on radio? So it's a lot that's happening, but there's no one that was forced. There is also no one that was coerced to appear on the show.
Okay, that's a very direct answer. So the fourth question is, do the people that appear on your show get counseling before and after the show?
Yeah, like I said earlier, this approach to conflict resolution is a journey. It's not a once-off thing. It requires establishment of a relationship first. It requires getting into the shoes of the person that is in that situation. It also requires, what can I say? It requires you to have that heart, the desire to help, the desire to end a problem, the desire to give a solution to a situation that's troubling another. So that is basically the driving force. And for you to do that and for you to achieve that, you definitely need to the heart that is prepared to do so, to take them from the very onset and to the end until these people gain what we call closure. So, talking about counseling, of course, before they even come, during consultation, they come, they relate their cases, we sit down with them, then they narrate, the background of the case. So that is the starting point of the journey. So after having related all the things that they are encountering, the problems, why they to come and everything, then you now have got an understanding of where they are coming from and how best can they be helped. After having figured that out, you also tell them the road, so that you give them an orientation of the stages that we're going to take. That is the pre-counseling, the sample collection, the DNA test, and also the result outcome, and also the visitation when we bring the DNA result, and also the post-counseling, the follow-through, and the follow-ups. So that is the structure that we follow. It's more like what we actually trying to solve these problems, because there are real issues, there are serious issues, and they need to be handled wisely and amicably, so as to make sure that both parties are satisfied, and also so as to make sure that the issue regarding the child in question is going to be addressed, and the child is going to be properly placed without any bias and without any favor, and also to try to be as neutral as possible, so that you balance the two sides that are at conflict. So there's a lot of technique that is required. That is why you also realize that even if there are cases that is so serious, that are so serious, and even when you're supposed to really laugh and smile, there you can't afford, because they're looking at the gravity and the intensity of the case that you are handling. Laughter might actually try to appear funny. It might also give a wrong message, probably to the father that's in doubt, and the behavior. The way we behave when we are handling those cases is also very important. That is why I can safely say that all the procedures that we have put in place for us to come to a closure, we try to follow them religiously, so as to make sure that we don't make mistakes, we don't injure another, and also to make sure that the people we are trying to help are really helped, and also to follow them up, to hear feedback. How are you doing? They then now become family to us. It means they started as a client, but now they are like a part of our family. We belong to a family together. That is why they can visit us anytime, and we can also visit them anytime. We can also refer them to whoever, be it journalists or whoever is willing to talk to them. These people are available for whoever, and they understand us, and we understand them better. So that's all I can say about that patient.
Okay, that's very good and very precise. Now, you spoke about helping them move forward, and I think this part is where the Tinashe Mugabe Foundation comes into play. Can you tell us a bit about the Tinashe Mugabe Foundation and what you're doing? What do you aim to achieve with it?
All right, thank you. Right, like I said, that it's a process for us to handle these cases. We also realize that there is the end is not that satisfactory, and the end is not really a good end to some of the clients that are coming on our platform. Then we decided to find ways of helping them. The after result, a kind of life that they are going to lead. What kind of a life are they going to lead, and how best can they be assisted to carry on, to move on, to achieve, to settle from a social perspective, to settle from from that dispute, from the dispute that they will be having. So I then received overwhelming support, because there's a lot of people watching, and they're also sympathizing with the clients that are appearing on the shows, and they then started to say, I want to help this one, I want to help that one. So we received overwhelming feedback of people wanting to help. Then I was also encouraged to say, why don't you open a foundation, that can also cater for for your clients that are coming on the show. and I have seen that as a very good impetus for us to be able to reach out to our clients and actually give them the assistance that they deserve at any particular point in time. And whenever they have a problem, they have, the freedom to come back to us, to approach us, to highlight their problems. I want to go to school now. I want to probably pay fees for my kids. There's a lot that is happening on the background. It's unfortunate that we might not be able to cover everything, but the foundation is indeed playing a pivotal role, and people are really enthusiastic to help like the show we had recently, that is yesterday. Already the boy who is being neglected and by the father, who is denied by the father completely. We have people willing to help, like as we speak. We don't know exactly, but we have quite a number that has already indicated that they want to help that boy.
That's very good, and I think that initiative is already showing its fruits, and we I think the nation is proud of you and grateful for that initiative. Moving on to the next question. Your show has been around for a while now. You're on season 3, right? What has been the response? And I want to ask you 2 questions in one. What has been the response to you specifically, and how do you think your show helps the country in terms of moving forward? How do you think it helps the country moving forward?
Number one, dispute resolution, problem solving. I think it's one of the vehicles that is necessary and important for every country to move ahead. When disputes are not resolved, it then kind of reflects a picture of chaos and disorder. It also leads to mental instabilities, and it also leads to a country, that is full of people that are at conflict. Conflict is never a good thing in any economy at any given time. Solutions are the best things, are the best ideas that can take the country forward. So our show, when we started, we had peace within, because peace must start from within yourself before it is projected to the next person. And the satisfaction to say you have helped these people and you have managed to solve it is one thing that gives satisfaction to yourself first before you can even give it to the next person. So that is what we achieved. And feedback coming from the relatives, the people concerned, the people involved, it was really, really satisfying. Hence, it gave us energy to move on from one case to another. Then, as we brought it on the public platform, then we also received good feedback to say people are really appreciating. The intention was never the drama. That is why we are not concerned, and we will never even try to employ drama. In those cases, neither are we going to manipulate or cause people to behave in a certain way that is not inborn. We give the people the liberty to behave or to react the way they want to, and also to just receive and to just react the way they want to without being told do this, do that, because it's a real case that we're handling. So it requires real reactions. You cannot be handling a real case and you have forced reaction. That is not possible, because the issue, that's why they are crying. You can never tell a person to cry, but you just see them crying. That is why you see many reactions, mixed reactions are being reflected. Some they even react violently, but rarely. But that is actually an indication to say these shows are just realistic, and there is no manipulation, and people have really accepted the show. Though there are some, for reasons best known to themselves, that really do not agree with the Closure DNA show. Of course, perceptions differ, but at the end of the day, if you do an introspection, you want to figure out whether you have helped a person and what have you achieved in that endeavor, or if there is something that you say you can point to say you have achieved, then that gives you the energy to move ahead. Imagine, let me just give you some information that's hidden. To just have one complete episode, it is really under, it is really under, the cost of one episode is more than 500 or 600 US dollars. And imagine, for someone would have paid $50, it is not even enough for the test. Imagine the traveling, imagine the wear and tear of the vehicles that we have. Imagine the cost of the production team in terms of those that are in production. They understand editing, they understand subtitling, they understand the the whole idea of filming that show for it to be as standard as it is. Though we still feel that we need to improve in a lot of things, but it's indeed a sacrifice. Hoping and trusting that the good move in terms of helping those will actually reward us one day. And sometimes when we started up to now, we are still on a negative side. We have lost a lot, we have spent a lot, and compared to what we have benefited, that is on the ZPC platform and also on YouTube, we have spent more than what we have received. So the issue is not really about money, though money must come after having done something that's important, something that can really benefit another, then the rewards will follow. So that's what I can say about that question.
Okay. Definitely, I can see you're passionate about the subject, and that's great. That's very great. Now, the next question I have is, if you had to put a ballpark number on how many negative paternity cases you have a month or yearly versus those that are positive, what average percentage do you think are negative?
All right. Yeah. You remember we had we were committed to give our yearly statistics on yearly basis. Like at the end of the year, we would compile, some if there's some comparison, negatives with positives, it would publish those on papers. But recently, the Ministry of Health said needs to take procedures before we publish those statistics. Number one, need to have the biostatistician. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fine. Right, we need the biostatistician statisticians to be involved. They do the compilations themselves, and after they are done, then those statistics must be submitted to the ministry for approval before those they go on public. Our hands are tied in terms of publishing by head.
Okay.
They say we might be scaring the the people in our country, by just mentioning those scary figures. But we have to take proper procedures. But all I can say is that we have had more of the negative results than the positive. When you say those that were excluded as biological fathers, more than those that were not excluded. So that's all I can say about that. And the reason being that those that to come for DNA testing are already people that are in doubt, and they have probably seen something indicative of a cheating behavior coming from their partners, and therefore they end up doubting everything. And also we also have issues to do with mothers, that are not even sure that the children they have in the home are truly the children that are coming from their husbands or not, so they can verify that as well for their peace of mind. So issues to do with DNA is not something that's one-sided, but it comes from both parties. Mothers are coming with two children to say, tell me if they're coming from one father or not. Mothers are also coming to say, I'm really not sure, I don't understand who actually is the biological father, then I need verifications. Then they can sometimes bring, non-standard samples like a toothbrush from the father. Sometimes they can bring any sample that has got DNA of the father to verify if those kids truly belong to those fathers. So we have a lot of things are happening, and it is actually being determined by both the fathers wanting to know and also the mothers wanting to know.
Oh, okay. Okay. This is a personal question. Would you advocate for the government to make every child go through a mandatory paternity test at birth to save people from all this chaos?
All right. It's not wise like to make it like mandatory that a DNA test must be done to qualify a child to get a birth certificate. Uh, that is my own opinion, independent opinion as well. How I look at it is that it's really not a good thing to do because the person must have a choice. That gap or that leeway of one having to make a choice, an independent decision to say, must I verify? What if that person is not prepared to verify that issues to do with paternity? What if even if they do the verifications? Imagine a mother just giving birth and immediately the mother is told that the child does not belong to this father. The mother still needs to recover. The mother still needs to regain energy and the ability to even take care of the child, even for herself. It would be disaster if that is to happen. To say it's mandatory that after death, then a DNA test. It's always wise that people gets to be educated about the importance of DNA, and that the earlier they do it, the better for themselves as a couple getting into marriage, and also it's also good for the child. That in the event that the child does not belong to the father in question, then immediately before death strikes or before anything happens, then that child is going to know who actually is the biological father. To them. So I think that's what I can say about that. It's good that it must be done, but for it to be for it to be forced on people, others might not be comfortable with it because they are not psychologically prepared to undergo any DNA test.
Okay, here's a follow-up. Here's a follow-up. Don't you think Uti Kanajuga, if it's made mandatory, don't you think Uti it can actually stop one nation from kutamba msangu? Like I mean, as a
definitely we're going to have a lot of negatives because all right, no, there's a great discrepancy between the pleasure that you enjoy and the consequences thereof when the child comes. We have failed to balance the two, and usually the pleasure and the enjoyment that we have, it's really interesting. But now when the news comes that you say, "Oh, I'm pregnant, I have a baby," then conflict starts. So those two contradicting ends, actually, we have failed to really unite them, and also to make sure that our consequences they will follow us, and it will also lead into the coming of the baby, and that baby is going to be taken care of. That's why we see also a lot of men are running away. We have quite a number of women that are running after the fathers, and the fathers are running away mainly because probably they are married already, and they're just running away from responsibility to take care of two families. So that's why we've got many single mothers who are taking care of kids, and the fathers they've already disappeared. So that's what I can say on that one.
Okay. This one has just come through from the inbox. They're asking, are these tests conducted in Zimbabwe?
All right. Let me say our capacity currently is not okay for us to handle those cases locally. We have entered partnerships worldwide, so we have many partners that are overseas: UK, United States, Australia, South Africa, Botswana, and we have. Let me just say many in many countries. So regardless of where. Regardless of where the client is coming from, a DNA test must be done without any problems. So some can be done locally, some can be taken out of the country.
Okay.
To balance the demand. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, this is how can we as a nation stop paternity fraud? Should the government intervene and have severe punishments for those who partake in it?
All right. Uh, yeah, that's a very good question. Paternity fraud is rampant these days. Uh, I think the government should really put measures for for that issue to be addressed, especially on the part of on the part of men. Yes, maintenance is given. Men are actually are forced to pay maintenance to take care of the kids that are theirs. After verifications has been done and the court of law has handled those cases. Yeah, but also on the part of paternity fraud on the part of women, it's really a gray area that needs to be addressed. To say if women are cheating and women are misrepresenting, women are placing those babies where they do not belong, what therefore should happen. But also we need not to blame them, because when they are doing those acts, some of the women does not even know, and they can even tell you that I'm not even sure who exactly is the biological father to this kid that I have. So that's also another issue, because they can innocently tell you that they are not sure. But if proper policies, proper laws are placed in place, for those areas, gray areas to be administered, then I think there should be harmony, on both the males and the females, regarding these issues. But as we see, it's maintenance on males. But what about if then there's paternity fraud? What should happen? I have paid for fees. I have raised this child, but at the age of 15, I'm told the child is not mine. Then what happens? Others are trying to pursue these cases, from a legal perspective, to claim what they would. But I am yet to make follow-ups to really hear how those cases ended, when they were like claiming back all the expenses that they would have actually spent on their kids.
Okay. I think this is going to be our last question. So, guys, if you've got questions and I deem them good enough, please throw them in the inbox. Throw them through George, and then I'll ask the questions. But this is the last one. What do you think of places like France, which have banned individual DNA testing unless it is granted by the courts?
All right. Yeah. Right, then it simply means that people are now being restricted from what we call access to peace of mind, DNA testing, to verify issues from a social perspective and not from a legal perspective, to resolve their disputes without involving the court of law. How then will people be able to do that if they are restricted to access those peace of mind DNA testing? It then causes a lot of problems, and people will remain with a lot of problems, because sometimes it's even expensive for them to undergo the legal procedure. Sometimes it involves it's a process, and then sometimes it involves waiting for a long time. It also involves queuing and many other factors, visible and invisible, that affect affects them. So basically, what I can say is peace of mind is something that is needed. It's an urgent matter, and when one is denied the urgent peace of mind, then what will happen to the need? That's when you will hear suicides happening. You also hear a murder happening. You also hear, because these are people that are already angry, against one another. And until that those issues are like handled, drastically, then there should be disaster taking place. So it's best that people must be at liberty, must be liberal to access these services. Like when they agree, husband and wife, that is concerned relatives, then a DNA test can be done. So that is why there should be a possibility for a legal test, DNA test to be done, as well as peace of mind to also be done.
Okay. Let me just check if we have anything in the inbox. George, do we have anything in the inbox coming through? George, are you there? Hosts, are you there? Anengarara. Okay. I may not see what's happening with George, but pane nyaya yandakaona pa TL, whereby people were saying kuti, what if the babies were swapped? I already know the answer, but I feel as if it probably pane munhu asingazivi the answer. Kwanzi ko kana if the father is excluded, pamunoti baba hapana chenyu apa. Kwanzi kana vana vacho vakaswapwa ningi. Can you explain that part to them and explain them zvinofamba sei pane ningi iyoyo?
All right, yeah. Yeah, that's why I always encourage people that when they're coming for these DNA tests, the mother, the father, and the child has got to come. And when they come, let me first by giving you an example. We had a case whereby there's this gentleman that was approached by a long-time girlfriend, and this girlfriend told this gentleman to say, "I have your child." I think she did, this lady, after about 14 years, she came back to say, "I have your child." Remember that day when we were together, we slept together. I got pregnant, but I didn't want to tell you, but I have your child. So this gentleman said, "Oh, you have my child," and she said yes, and also she's going to be in Form 1 this year, so you need to pay fees for your kid. Then the gentleman decided to bring this child for a DNA test. When the test was done, the mother was also excluded, and the father was also excluded as the biological father. The mother was also excluded as the biological mother. So we invited both of them, and we sat down. We tried to inquire on this matter so that we can gain the grainy detail. What would have transpired for the mother to have the child? Where did she get the child from? The father was also astonished to say, "But where did you get this child from?" So it was kind of dramatic, in the way the mother was behaving until we realized that, there is really something wrong. So we then decided to say we are going to take this matter further, by involving the police, so that investigation is going to be done to figure out where did this child come from. Is stolen child? Where did this mother got this from? And she's trying to use that child to actually benefit something from the alleged. So they left before we could go to the police to report it. Then the husband called to say, the mother is confessed. It's not. It's a sister's child, so she just wanted to take money from me, and then so we have now agreed that we have forgiven her, and I don't think I should go and report. That is now the alleged father that said it. So in as much as we wanted to have this issue addressed by the police, the father denied, and they just went away. So whenever the mother, when the test is being done, the mother, the father, okay, let me say, when the tests are being done, if not the mother to the child in question, does not even go about the father, we inform them that the mother is also excluded. So the father is to continue.
Okay. All right. There are no messages coming into my inbox. So, okay, just a quick last